Last week, the risk-reward balance changed drastically for this graphite company, Gratomic. As a quick refresher, I am bullish on graphite because this wonderful material makes up almost 50% of any lithium-ion battery. Subsequently, we are expecting huge supply and demand deficits for the upcoming years, in part thanks to the inevitable boom of electric vehicles. Gratomic, the topic of this video, is a soon-to-be graphite producer. Their Aachen property is the one that will start out churning actual graphite pretty soon, with plans for graphite in bag for March 2022. Aside from Aachen, Gratomic of course has the rights to the Buckingham property in Canada and the Capim Grosso property in Brazil, but we will talk about those two again in another video. I believe Arno and especially Gratomic have just been unleashed, and I'll explain what that means for the share price of Gratomic in this video. Let's get into it. Risk off. Gratomic has just de-risked itself significantly. Why? Well, they signed an offtake agreement with Technology Metals Market, or TM2. For those of you that aren't that into the mining world, offtake agreements are a huge deal for any junior mining company, especially if they have terms like these. So what are those terms then? Well, first off, we are looking at a 60-month period. TM2 will buy 30% of Gratomic's total graphite production in SG16, and they will buy an additional 15% of Gratomic's total graphite supply in SG16 coated graphite material. Don't worry, I will explain what this means in just a bit, but now first, TM2 is willing to buy the SG16 uncoated material for a price of $2,700 per ton, and they're willing to buy the SG16 coated material for $8,000 per ton. And this is especially huge. After the first 3 months of delivery, products shall be purchased from Gratomic at prevailing market rates. This might not sound crazy to you, but most offtake agreements have a predetermined upfront agreed price, but this one is flexible. Gratomic is able to increase the price over time, which is really bullish. And this part is almost even more important. A provisional payment of 90% in advance will be made quarterly to Gratomic. TM2 is willing to pay 90% of what Gratomic will deliver them per quarter, which is just insane. So yeah, these terms are pretty darn good, and Arno is really big brain for locking up these insane terms with TM2 up front. And I have promised to explain this part in a bit more detail, so let's do that now. To be fair, this is worded quite confusingly, but I have confirmed with the company that it just means that Gratomic will sell 45% of Gratomic's total graphite production to TM2 over a 60-month period, which starts at Q3 of 2022. Of course, 30% of the total production will be sold as SG16 uncoated, and 15% of Gratomic's total production will be sold as SG16 coated. And what is the difference between SG16 coated and uncoated? Well, apparently Gratomic is able to get SG16 uncoated material right out of the Aachen processing plant. By the way, this is pretty huge. Most graphite producers are only able to get up to SG16 after 2 or sometimes even 3 processing facilities. SG16 is a really high standard to achieve, and Gratomic is able to achieve this with just 1 processing facility at Aachen. So out of Aachen, the material is called SG16 uncoated, and Gratomic can send their material to their facilities in Luderidge Bay, where it can be coated and become SG16 coated material. Of course, SG16 uncoated is mainly sold to the users which want to do their own coating in-house. And for the users that want the Forge Nano ALD layer coating, well, they can buy the SG16 coated material right from Gratomic. Hopefully this part is clear, and if not, make sure to drop your questions down below in the comment section. Now, why is Gratomic's risk decreased because of this offtake agreement? Quite simple, TM2 giving such favorable terms to Gratomic legitimizes the company for any other graphite purchaser, and this especially legitimizes the company for other large investors. Although there is still way more de-risking to be done. I believe this offtake agreement puts us at around 10% of the way de-risked. After all, we haven't received any resource estimation for the Arkham property. This resource estimation is called an NI 43-101 mineral report, and it should tell us just how much graphite and at what purity is in the ground at Arkham. We should receive one pretty darn soon. Also, we have not received a PFS for Arkham just yet, which is normally a study a mining company completes before constructing their processing facility. Once we get those two studies, I believe it will de-risk Gratomic enough for almost any investor, and I believe that is when we'll go to the moon. However, I still believe Gratomic's story changed for the better. Let's now look at the value proposition. And to do so, let's look at the revenues Gratomic should be able to get shortly from now. The Arkham plant will at first accommodate an initial 20,000 tons per annum of output, and since the plant will be at 51% capacity around Q3 2022, I believe we can expect the plant to be at 20,000 tons per year around 2023. We might see a revenue split like this where 40% will be sold as SG16 coated and the other 16% will be sold as SG16 uncoated. I believe this split to be quite conservative, but we will have to wait for the financial reports of around Q3 and Q4 2022 to tell which split will actually happen at Arkham. Keep in mind, if they do sell more SG16 coated in real life, that is bullish, since the price per ton is way higher for SG16 coated than for the SG16 uncoated. But this revenue split with the prices out of the latest news report puts Gratomic at a revenue of $96 million per year around 2023. Now let's calculate what Gratomic might be worth in 2023. $96 million in revenue times a price to sales ratio of 5 puts them at a market cap of $482 million in 2023. At the current fully diluted shares outstanding, that puts them at a share price of $2.60 again in 2023. Of course, at my opportunity cost of 15% per year, that $2.6 in 2023 is worth $2.25 today. And by the way, at the current share price, if you are looking at a 2023 timeframe for Gratomic, you are getting about a 55% margin of safety, which is really solid. So to summarize this part shortly, Gratomic might be able to go up to $2.60 by 2023. This would be a 155% profit in just 1 year, which certainly isn't bad. Also, at the current share price, you are getting about a 55% margin of safety. However, if you have a longer time frame, I believe Gratomic will serve you even better. So this is my 2024 projection, and by then I believe Gratomic will be at a 40,000 ton per annum production at Arkham. So assuming a very similar revenue split at the same prices, which is conservative, we get to a revenue of almost $200 million in the year 2024. Keep in mind, we are expecting these prices to increase over time, at least with inflation, but especially if more and more graphite demand were to hit the market, so this is quite conservative. Again, at a price to sales ratio of 5, that puts Gratomic at almost a $1 billion market cap or a share price of roughly $5 per share. This would be a 400% profit in just 2 years, which is certainly not bad. But of course, at my opportunity cost of 15%, that would value Gratomic today at roughly $4 per share. This is of course again assuming zero risk and you only want a 15% return. But this does mean that at the current share price, you are getting about a 70 to 75% margin of safety, which is absolutely bonkers. So the 2024 projection gives us roughly a 5x return with roughly 70% margin of safety, which certainly isn't bad. However, the 2025 projection gets even better. By 2025, Capium Grosso should also be operational. After all, Gratomic's aiming for a 2024 startup. However, projecting anything out this far becomes increasingly blurry. But let's assume Capium Grosso and Arkham are both running at a 40,000 ton per year capacity. Again, at a similar revenue split with the same graphite prices, we are getting to a total revenue in 2025 of $400 million US. And that should be able to yield Gratomic all the way to $10 per share in 2025. So that would be a 10x return in just 4 years. I dare you to find me any other company with such an insane value proposition. Discounted of course at my opportunity cost, that $10 in 2025 is worth roughly $7 today, and that allows us to get an 85% margin of safety compared to the current share price. Summarized, Gratomic might just have the ability to go up 10x in just 4 years, which would be insane. But to be fair, the further we go out with these projections, the blurrier the picture becomes. I think the most important thing to note is that Gratomic can overperform the market significantly on any of these time frames. And that while the company might not have that much risk anyways. And the more positive news report we get, the more de-risked the company becomes. Also, if an offtake agreement with any electric vehicle maker were to happen, for example with the Tesla, then these projections will look especially conservative. If Tesla were to attach their name to Gratomic, I believe we can expand that multiple way past a 5 price to sales ratio. So yeah, that is the value proposition. And now it is time for you to do way more research. I believe my interview with Arno Brandt, as shown on the screen right now, is a great starting point. Also, I believe this video can be a great tool to get an overview on Gratomic and its grand plans, so you can definitely check it out if you would like. However, keep in mind, I am just a young guy with some cool lamps on the background. You gotta always do your own research. Do not just trust anything anyone tells you online. Always fact check and always do your own calculations. With that said, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a like and maybe even subscribe. Comment down below what you want to talk about next, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.